Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Absolutely.
Let me see here. So we only have 10 minutes, so let's try to make the most of it. I'm wondering, like, you've been in the mobile advertising game since the beginning. Why do you think it's taken off so quickly? Because there seem to be so many factors at play here.
Well, I think, like any advertising, it starts with the consumer. And so everything begins there. Consumers have just really, amazingly taken to mobile to the point where, I really do think it's their first choice device to control their communication, their socialization, their entertainment, and certainly their time. And so that transition has happened over a very, very short period of time, and I think that's been really the fuel for the mobile ad business.
Gotcha. You came out of the carrier kind of business as well. Any major takeaways or lessons you learned there that you brought along to Millennial, or as you built it up?
Well, certainly we're a company that has a respect for the carrier's role in what they do, but that role really is the network and powering the connections between consumers. There have been various attempts on the carrier side to roll out services, and to varying levels of success, and some actually fairly successful at times that we've seen, but that really paled in comparison to the great opportunity that was iOS, and that is Android, and that is emerging here for Microsoft, and questionable for Ring.
Gotcha. So this is a question I've been asking everybody at this conference, actually, but what do you think we still need to learn about mobile ads, especially today? Today's actually a significant day. It's the 5th anniversary of Apple's App Store. I feel like we should have had a little birthday party panel or something. But,
all right, yes, everybody, round of applause.
So what do you think we still need?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that we still need, and in particular, this conference is a lot about monetization and on the making money side of the house. On the advertiser side of the house, there's been substantial testing that's happened in this marketplace. There's been scaling of budgets that have happened, and we do business with 85 of the Ad Age top 100 advertisers. And I think what's really needed is a bit on the measurement side and a bit on the attribution side. And so, there are various industry groups that are working on those as well. I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago of the IAB, the ANA, the Association of National Advertisers, and the 4As, the Advertising Agency Association. And, one of the top topics was measurement in mobile, attribution in mobile. And so I think, that's really the next frontier in terms of the next wave of spend that we'll see come into the space.
Gotcha. Is that something that you guys specifically are going to focus on too, or as you're building up the network?
Well, absolutely. I think we're very focused on that. We have been, really since the beginning, giving good reporting back to advertisers, giving them insights, helping them understand the insights that come from audience, the insights that come from a data asset that we've built called the relevance graph, which takes some location data, some social signals, of course the various mobile signals that are out there, as well as contextual, and brings that together and we sell a product called Mobile Audience Solutions behind that. So we've been very involved in that, but I think as an industry, we've got to understand what the differences are in the banking industry in terms of what they want from attribution as an advertising client that is different from the automotive industry, which is different from, far different from another great base of customers, which is app developers seeking downloads.
Yeah.
So, and those things, require, a little bit different measurement and attribution.
Gotcha. Wearable computing has kind of been a big thing at this conference as well. Have you thought about that in terms of the potential for advertisements or what that would mean for you guys? I can see it working in Google Glass, but I'm not sure about other things like wristwatches.
Well, I think the key insight over the last several years in terms of consumer usage, and we talked a lot about this on our IPO roadshow last year, was that the app economy is the theme.
Yeah.
And so, we believe that all new devices, and to include things that are wearable, will have some flavor of the one-to-one relationship between the developer or content provider and the consumer. Now, you might deliver that via a browser, you might deliver that via a native app, but the notion that content plus utility equals what consumers want is something that the web never got, and that mobile really got early. And so as I look at things that are wearable and an opportunity there, I think it goes back to exactly the same app paradigm, where as long as the consumer is getting good utility, and that utility, that the consumer has an understanding of the trade-off, that if they're going to get free apps for their watch or for, frankly, their refrigerator, that there's going to be an ad-supported component to it, and I think consumers are, I think, very, very happy with that trade.
Gotcha. Speaking of your IPO, you guys went public last year. It was very successful. Any major takeaways or lessons that you learned from that?
Well, I think the first, and there are a lot of startups in the room. First is don't be afraid to build a long-term, sustainable, market-leading company and take it public. It's that's something that's incredibly valuable for the long term. I think an IPO is a massive marketing event for your company, and it's something that certainly has accelerated our how we look at our business. And I think it's been a great experience for us. Now you've got some different constituencies with hedge funds and mutual funds, and different people asking you to crystallize your business in words that they can understand. But isn't that what we all have to do anyway?
Sure.
And so we found it to be a very rewarding experience.
Nice. And yeah, you guys were the biggest, or I guess the last big independent mobile ad company as well. How are you viewing that? Like, are you holding on to that independence fiercely at this point?
I think I think really building a sustainable company is what we've always set out to do. I think it continues to be true that I think the company we built, the company that Omar's going to be up here in a second, the company Omar built, I think persistently are a couple of companies that are right up there in terms of market share in the business.
Yeah.
It's been that way for a long time, and I continue to see it in that way.
Gotcha. One thing you were mentioning to me earlier, you were saying the future of mobile ads isn't just about monetization. It's also about what can developers do that advertisers will really crave, and I assume what consumers will really like as well. Can you care to elaborate on that?
Sure. I think there's one consistent theme that I think especially the people at this conference are looking for, which is how do I make more money, and how do I monetize my apps better? And I think the answer is richer, and it's richer in terms of the ad units, and very specifically, advertisers are rabid for mobile video. And so if you're an app developer today and you're determining, hey, I've got display in my app and some rich media, is it worth the extra time and effort to enable video in terms of advertising in my app? I can tell you that absolutely it's worth it from a price leverage perspective, from an overall monetization perspective. It's great. But it's also richer in terms of data, in terms of the data that you're sharing with the platforms you're integrated with. That's another one where you've got substantial price leverage, is when you've got more data flowing in. So richer units, richer data, those two things are especially if you look at Q3 and Q4 of this year, how can you make more money? Those are really the areas.
Gotcha. We're getting really close to the end here. Wondering, should advertisers be concerned about maybe oversaturating consumers? I think we're getting to a point where we're seeing tons of smartphones out there, tons of tablets, wearables on the rise. Is there going to be some sort of endpoint or brick wall that advertisers have to worry about, or are they just trying to innovate at this point?
Well, I don't think so. I think that the wall that mobile is really breaking down is the wall between the customer and the retail location, for example.
Sure.
Consumer can walk right into the store, and so it's much more compelling than online advertising. And so I think advertisers are still testing the waters to see, the final kind of role that mobile will play in their overall media plan. And I think, for advertisers that are on the edge of sophistication, on the leading edge of that have been investing for years, I think what we're finding is that mobile is going to play a major role in the overall media plan, and not just one-dimensionally, but actually one where you're able to drive sales and drive people into a store and use those things that are unique to mobile.
Gotcha. You see mobile kind of overtaking what print and web and maybe other TV ads at some point?
Well, I think that mobile is the real digital. I think that magazines recast on another screen and surrounding them with 17 ads is not a successful model. I think giving consumers real utility where they can use the app they have to find a restaurant or to plan their day or to plan the experience that they're going to have throughout the day, I think is the real digital, and I think over time the market will see that.
I like that idea of the real digital. Cool. Well, thanks for the chat, Paul.
Thanks.
Let's have a round of applause for Paul.
All right, next up we have